All right, so the Green Bay Packers, they start the season against the two-time reigning NFC North champion Detroit Lions, and I don't think anybody expected the Packers to look that good that quick. Typically, under Matt LaFleur as the head coach in Green Bay, they're typically slower starters, but man, they have come out of the gates with a statement to make. They go before the season starts, they go and sign Micah Parsons. That made that championship caliber type of difference on this team. And I know when that move happened, there was a lot of people that was either one side of the fence or the other saying, okay, one, oh my gosh, this instantly makes them Super Bowl contenders. And then two, on the flip side, people were like, well, this really doesn't make that big of a difference on this team. Clearly it does. Okay. So then they face against the Washington Commanders. Again, nobody expected them to look that good back-to-back games against two really good teams, manhandling the Commanders from start to finish. In fact, Jaden Daniels is going to be sitting this week. Now, the Packers are going on the road to Cleveland. Everybody's expecting the Packers to manhandle the Cleveland Browns, but is that going to happen? Is that going to be the case? Well, it's going to be a clash of the Titans between Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett. You're looking at two of the best defenders in the league over the last handful of years. Okay, so here's what Micah Parsons has done. Here's how he has transformed this Packer defense. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't all Micah Parsons, okay? This is a very good defense led by Jeff Hafley. Jeff Hafley came into Green Bay and he said, hey, listen, we're going to be a team that creates havoc, and it comes in the form of turnovers and takeaways, and that's exactly what they did. Now, we're yet to see the takeaways really take off this season, but man, they have made such a difference. You're looking at there right there, 51 pressures, 8 sacks, 3.7 yards per play allowed. That is first in the NFL, okay? Second in the first in the NFL in pressures. That is what this Green Bay Packer defense is doing, led by Jeff Hafley under the defensive coordinator. And again, of course, Micah Parsons is there. Okay, so let's take a look before we jump into all of this, the injury report for the Green Bay Packers. Okay, so obviously Tucker Kraft is on that injury report because he hurt his knee in practice. Okay, so you got Zane Anderson, will be playing Aaron Banks, will be playing Nate Hobbs, will be playing Josh Jacobs, will be playing Tucker Kraft, questionable. I don't think he's going to be out there. Personally, I don't think he's going to be out there playing. So if you're betting on him, whether you're using DraftKings Sportsbook or not, I wouldn't place my bets on Tucker Kraft to play this game. You got Jordan Love out there. He, of course, will be playing Bo Melton. He's going to be back out there. Special teams will be needed for him out there. Jaden Reed hit the IR, so he is obviously going to be out. We already knew that. We had, surgery on his foot, surgery on his shoulder. Zach Tom is another questionable. Is this going to be 2 weeks in a row where Zach Tom is missing at right tackle for the Green Bay Packers? Remains to be seen. But the big storyline in this game is defense. Okay, so when you take a look at defense, here's what the Packers are doing. Okay, you look at the rushing yards allowed per game. Who's number one on that list? You got the Cleveland Browns. Number two on the list is the Green Bay Packers. Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons. That's, again, and these are pass rushers, but it makes such a difference to this defensive front line because, it just changes. Everybody just plays way better when you've got somebody that is a freak athlete right next to you that you can, put in there and you can disrupt, as a defensive coordinator, okay, this is probably going to be a pass down. So we're going to bring everything, and this is probably going to be a rundown. So we're going to bring everything to stop the run, all that. I absolutely love the way that Micah Parsons has made such a difference. And I'm sure Jeff Hafley loves it because he can coach way better. And, don't expect Jeff Hafley to be around after this season because you're going to be looking at, a top defense in the league easily, barring any injuries happening, whatever. So you're facing the number one and number two defense of, two defenses with yards allowed per game. Well, you've got Myles Garrett, PFF, as of right now, he's got 10 pressures, 85.2 overall PFF score. He's got 3.5 sacks on the year. You got Micah Parsons, who's got 2 sacks on the year, 89.8 overall PFF score. He's got a better PFF score, and that is on also having 10 pressures also. Okay. So you again, two difference makers. I'm super pumped up to look at that defensive battle between between these two teams. Okay. So then you look at stopping the pass, allowing pass yards per game. The Cleveland Browns are third on that list with 146. The Packers are 10th on that last list currently at 189.5. Okay, so the Packers, what a dramatic climb. You look just a few years back at Joe Barry, guys. Leave your comments. Jeff Hafley is quickly becoming one of my favorite defensive coordinators. I know it's just a year or two for this Green Bay Packer defense, but I loved what he did last year. And again, give credit to where credit's due. You also have to give credit to the players for going out there and playing, but also Brian Gutekunst signing Xavier McKinney. You see the difference that dude was on that Packer defense last year, leading the league in takeaways. And then now you've got Micah Parsons on there. Now they're leading the league in pressures. They're second in the league in sacks. And then you look at points allowed per game, okay? Because that's huge. At the end of the day, that's a very big deal. And the Green Bay Packers right now are fourth on that list. Where are the Cleveland Browns on that list? The Packers are only allowing 15.5 points per game. Then you got the Cleveland Browns way down there, allowing 29 points per game. So how does that translate? You're looking at how good this defense is, but yet they're allowing a whole lot of points. Is the offense, just turning the ball over? Well, that's great news for the Packers because Jeff Hafley and company are going to have a heyday, hopefully make up for some of the, not as many turnovers so far in week 1 and week 2 against the Lions of the Commanders. Okay. So you look at the run game. Okay. So we just talked about it. Okay. So you've got, number 1 and number 2 in the league. So it's going to come down to who's going to get what offensive line is going to open up the holes for the running backs. You got Quinshon Judkins. He is a rookie who ran into some trouble, but now he landed on the team last game. He had 10 carries. He missed week 1 because of some off-field stuff. 61 yards, 10 carries. He had a very good game. This is projected to be a really good running back for this Cleveland Brown team. You got Josh Jacobs, of course, a little bit off to a slower start than typical, but this offensive line is yet to really open up some big holes out there, but they've also yet to be fully healthy, really, as a whole out there. 42 carries, 150 yards, 3.6 yards per carry. That's going to go up. I promise you that. 2 rushing touchdowns. But again, you look at this right here. The Packers defense is elite since adding Micah Parsons. So I want to silence all of the people out there that were saying, hey, listen, Micah Parsons is going to make that big of a difference. Absolutely, he makes that big of a difference. I said it from the beginning. You add a player like that. You add a player like Reggie White. You go and add a player like Charles Woodson. That's going to make a huge difference. That instantly takes your team to a Super Bowl caliber contender. But I mean, the Packers were already almost there over the last couple of years. So I'm super pumped about it. I cannot wait for this game. I hope the Packers don't start out slow. I hope they know what's coming. I want you guys to leave your comments and let me know. What do you think the score of the game is going to be? I think the Packers are going to come away with anywhere from a 13 to 20 point difference in this game. I think that's what the Packers outscore this Cleveland Brown team. Leave your comments, and as always, go Pack Go.